This is the Differential Show, and I'm FPL Marty. On this episode, I will be brave and daring to tackle the spooky and dreadful Gameweek 11. I recognize that a lot of us out there want to move on and not stir up the ghosts and imposters out there that say they are true footballers on the pitch and then give us blanks, injuries, and dare I say, red cards. I'm strong enough to get us through this and move us along to Gameweek 12. But first, please press that subscribe button. For all those FPLers out there, touche for the ones that have gone against the grain and picked up those differentials, because this was your week to shine, because the standout players that are the norm did not do well. Those template-ers did not show up this week. We're just going to do a little recap of my team and then we'll move on to Game Week 12. For goalkeeper, the majority of us play Areola because he's so cheap. So I do have him, but the theory is to kind of go against that. And I'm going to bank on Ederson. So I'm paying the extra funds to put him in my team, so I might as well play him. He just ends up, letting in a goal at the end of the game. So hopefully that trend can end, and I can bank off that differential for the investment that I have in him. Tripp was the player to have this week. For defense, it's not so template-esque because it's hard to fit him in on the team, and I'll take the 9 points. The only thing with him going forward is he may now have to move to the left based on some injuries. I really hope he doesn't. He's not a left-footed player. It might affect his returns. So hopefully he does go on the right and we're good to go. Anderson, I've been talking about him all season. He is a plug and play. Crystal Palace is super underrated defensively. A lot of us don't have him. I'm encouraging you, whether it's Anderson, Mitchell, Gay, one of those three on your team. They have some good fixtures coming up, so I would definitely bank on that. The Spurs-Chelsea game, you'd think. So I had Madison. Right, I knew a doggy was coming in based on I had Diaz in. I would have thought I have at least 4 points out of the two of them, and I come away with a -3, which is shocking. So I probably would have had a green arrow based on that result right there. Moving into the midfield, Salah is a solid hold. He's done, it was a tough game. The thing about Liverpool, anytime they play a weak team away and they sit back, it doesn't matter what midfield they have or who they're playing up top. The system Klopp plays does not work well against teams that sit back. They are a counter-attack team. They want to break fast. It's almost like they need to give them the ball and then break. But they don't. They just try to break them down, but they're not City. They're not able to do that. And I knew once they decided to do that and sit back and they got past the 30-minute marker, that's usually kind of where it happens. At that point, it was going to be tough. I was surprised they even scored at the end by Diaz. But we'll take that tie and move on. So I just think that was kind of one of those weeks where Salah will be fine going forward. Madison, he's flagged. I think Ange was saying that he should be good to go. I think they were just more likely they had to sub players anyway, so he was coming off. Bowen was a solid hold. I think there was a lot of people that were trying to move into Brighton players and maybe even trying to get Mbamo back, and they sacrificed Bowen. But West Ham have the second best fixtures for the next 6 game weeks for attacking, only just below Arsenal. So he's a solid hold. I just love that he had 7 points there. Diaby, it is what it is. You're going to get what you pay for. So he's going to get some good returns one week and then some duds the next week. They are going to run into some tough fixtures, so he's a possible transfer out. And Ndingra at that price looks good. They have good fixtures going forward. I just don't know how I feel about Brighton anymore. I think they're just so injured that they're just not getting the attack that they used to have. So, and then up front, I knew Darwin was going to be a hit or miss, and I was fine with that. He did miss easy tap in. I would say easy. He should have at his level put that in, but he is either going to score a glorious goal or it's going to be an easy miss. And then Haaland to be subbed at halftime was absolute heartbreaker for so many people out there, but we're all in the same boat. It didn't really hurt anyone because unless you went for Bowen captain or something like that, it really didn't matter. So let's just move past game week 11. It was putrid. If you got 30 points or more, you should feel happy, because I saw some teams with single digits and they were legit like content creator level people, and that's rough. It just happens. It's once a year type of thing. We're going to move past it. So looking at my team, like I said, Ederson's going to stay right up there. I know he's playing against Chelsea, but I'm more than likely going to take him over Ariel just based on the differential. I'm putting so much money. I'm not going to make a keeper change. So as of right now, Ederson's going to stay right in the back. In the defense, the question mark really is Diaz, because he didn't play. He just played midweek, and now it looks like he possibly might be playing just midweek games, or who knows. So it's kind of one of those. I was banking on the City defense. They have rough fixtures coming forward on the next 3 to 4 to 5 games, so that's a possible transfer out. Midfield, really what I'm looking at is just players that can possibly transfer. I do have the 2 free transfers. I have 0.4 in the bank. I know Madison's flagged, but I have options, so I don't think he is a move away just yet, unless I'm looking for some sort of luxury move. I think after this week for Diaby, there's a possible move out, and then Bowen and Salah are staying, and Digra is going to stay just based off of he's got good fixtures and he's cheap. Up front, Haaland's staying. I know he's flagged, but he played and scored this week. There's no concern about him, and we really should be considering taking Haaland out anyways, because if you bring in someone, who you bring in, you're going to bring in either Watkins, Alvarez, or Darwin, maybe Wilson, but he had an injury today, so probably not Wilson. So where are you going to benefit by taking Haaland out? What can you really upgrade, and is that even an upgrade? Maybe you get Tripp and Trent. But is that worth losing Haaland that can haul? I don't think so. I think he's a guy you're just going to keep for the entire season. And then bench-wise, like I said, Areola. I have Archer, Gusto, and Udogie. So I have Udogie who's not playing. He's flagged, obviously red card. Gusto is not going to start until Reece James gets injured again, which will happen. And then Archer's got an away game against Brighton, still probably a decent fixture for my first bench. So it's really going to come down to, do I want to spend 2 transfers? So if I'm looking for someone in defense, I would rank it this way. If I'm taking out Ruben Diaz, I would look at Saliba as my first and foremost choice. I think Arsenal has some great fixtures going forward. That would even be a team for a candidate to double up on. And then I would look at the Crystal Palace defense. So if I wanted to double up on them, I would look at Mitchell or Gay. And then the third, I would look at the replacements in Newcastle. So Lascelles and then Livramento. There's some riskiness by going there. I think it's more risky if you go Livramento, just based on he could platoon with Hall. As we consider transfers for this week, let's just take a look at where there's a need, right? So we have cash that's out. It's going to come down to what you have in the bank, right? So if you can upgrade, I would look to get Saliba, just based off the fixtures. He's nailed, and he's someone that you can rely on. So with getting rid of cash, you want to bring in someone that you can rely on, that's going to actually play and you're not going to worry about, right? The second option I would look at is Crystal Palace. They have some fixtures coming up. They're favorable. They have a lot of shutouts this season. So if you don't have Anderson, maybe someone like Mitchell or Gay, if you don't have the funds. And then lastly, this is where you would want to take a chance. If you need someone that is budget-wise to downgrade, to maybe upgrade someone on the midfield or forward area, then you would look for Lascelles or Livramento. But you're taking a risk really with Livramento. You just don't know if he's going to play or not. Lascelles should be in there for a while based on Botman is going to be out for a bit. In the midfield, if you're looking at the flag of Madison, I wouldn't be concerned about Madison right now. I think he'll be fine to play, but if you are looking for someone to move on to, Gordon would be my #1 pickup for the midfield. Based on Wilson's injured, we don't know how long he's going to be out. He had a hammy go on today, and Gordon potentially could be the striker. So I'm definitely going to be considering him. He's a cheap price. It doesn't matter to me on the price when it comes to the quality of player. You're getting a huge discount on player based on he's going to play on a top team. He's got a good fixture this week too. I wouldn't panic on Diaby or any of the Brighton players. So Diaby has a couple more games in between that look good, but he will be a transfer out soon, but maybe not just yet. But that's someone you would think about hopping on maybe to Mbamo in week 14. So that could just be an easy swap right there. For me, I would talk about Ndingra, Matoma for Brighton. It's like you want to bank on those great fixtures that are coming up, but who do you really bank it on? I think it really comes down to Matoma or Ndingra. And if you want to save some cash, I would go with Ndingra. Matoma is just not, I don't know if it's just the amount of minutes he's played. He doesn't get the returns. He had the assist off the shot that was an own goal, but realistically, I would just say let's save a little bit of money, go with Ndingra, who's going to play the majority of the game anyways. Other players that you would want to think about is if you do have Wilson, I would be concerned right now. An easy swap from Wilson, maybe downgrade to Darwin. Alvarez didn't start this midweek game, so he's probably a good start for the weekend. And then Watkins, I would stay away from Watkins just based on that team's going to go into some bad fixtures. And we've seen with Watkins that when he has the good fixtures, it looks good. When he doesn't, it looks okay. But I would invest more into the midfield. That's it for this edition of the Differential Show. Please be sure to subscribe and tune in next week.